From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the closing bell for Friday, April 26th, the last weekend in May. On Wednesday, we will flip the page. It will be May 1st. On Saturday, we will be running the 150th Kentucky Derby, the Run for the Roses. I think it's a two-horse field, meaning there's two big clear favorites, and then there's 18 other horses. Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, the one and only Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth, we call him, also now working at Wager Talk, will be here. He comes here for all the big races. We get him, I'd like to say first, but we'll have him second. Marco and Sean will be doing a show on Wager Talk, but we're super stoked to talk Kentucky Derby. Then a couple weeks later, the Preakness, and then hopefully one horse will be running to the Triple Crown 3 weeks later at the Belmont. And maybe this year, Sean, if you're listening, we can get you to come in on a Friday or Saturday, and we can do some of the big races throughout the summer and even the Saratoga Series. So anyways, shout out to WagerWire, our proud sponsor and partnership there. You see the logo up in the top corner. You've heard this spiel 10,000 times. Head on over to Google Play or wherever you download the apps. It's free. Get to know the app, start maneuvering in and out. Download the sports books that are in your state that are available. Take advantage of the match play, the promo offers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you want to join the WagerWire team, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Travis, Zach, both in Vegas for a couple days, and today Zach on the David Meltzer show. This company is going places, people. You can trust me on that. Get involved, join the team, and let's start making some money. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the co-star of the show, Mr. Riley Magnuson. We did a show yesterday, and I sent out an alert afterward, and I'm going to tap myself right here because I nailed the first four. I nailed Neighbors. I nailed Odunze. I set up the Packers for Cooper, and you guys, now. And the one that I'm real salty on, I'm going to talk about in a second. So without further ado, Mr. Riley Magnuson. What's up, chap?
What is up, my friend? Yes, you've got a bone to pick with with Mr. Gutekunst as far as not scooping up Cooper DeJean. He is still available though, so and the Packers have the number 9 pick here. So, obviously, I didn't see that specific pick coming. I mean, you could argue whether it was Cooper DeJean or not. Maybe Terry and Arnold was on their sights, and the Lions swoop in and take him at 24. Maybe the Lions had some intel that they were going to take Terry in there at 25, and so they swooped in and take him. And the Packers have to, and maybe that wasn't the case, and maybe the Packers had their guy the whole time there. But no, I was watching it with some buddies, and they were and Bears fans, of course, and they were clamoring, wondering what I was wanting, and I was I want Cooper DeJean if he's there, Cooper DeJean or nothing. And then as the I think even before Terry and Arnold goes, because then both of them at that point, both of them are there. And so, I'm sitting there. I'm saying, even if what's going to happen, even if the whoever's at 24 here doesn't take one of these two guys, the Packers are still just going to take some random guy that you've never heard of, an offensive lineman or something like that. And that's exactly what they did. Again, after I kind of had the same. If you were watching the draft live, you saw a couple Lions fans giving a Packers fan who looked sad some grief, and then I spin it myself because. The Packers historically, I trust them as far as taking offensive linemen. They typically hit on their offensive linemen, so I'm spinning it that way, and I'm pleased. And they did need some offensive line help. I was thinking they might wait because they're always very, very solid at taking some offensive linemen deeper into these drafts. But like I said, I mean we're sitting here there in the number 9 pick, and we've got 3 corners here. I mean, depending on who you trust as far as who's best available. As far as top 10 best available, there's 3 corners left there. So, if the Packers stick at 9, they still might take a defensive back here or any of these other guys that are available here. So there's some linebackers available. Packers got 2 in the second round, just sticking here with the Packers. So I think we're going to see some defense with a couple of these picks here for the Packers in the second round. They might even, there's a lot of linebackers that could use some linebacking help. Maybe they move back with one of these if they think these linebackers are going to stick around later into the second or third. So I was a little sad about it, but if the Packers wind up with Cooper or Kool-Aid here at second round pick number 9, then, I'm going to be calling Brian Gutekunst a genius here. So we'll see here tonight.
It's 5:17. I've had a long day. Shout out to everyone that came on today. Of course, Matt Grissom and 3 Men in a Box. I then jumped over to Wager Talk and did an NHL show with Andrew McGinnis. A lot of phone calls. I texted you right at 5 as I'm listening to the locals. And I'm like, all right, we got to get on here. I mean, we could talk for an hour just on the first round, what transpired. I'm going to try to be nice and speed up the process here so we get to some games tonight. We won't. I said last night the under-over was an hour. It was 59 minutes and 57 seconds. So I'm promising you it'll be a lot less than that as well.
Yeah.
So I sent out the alert, and anyone that watched and listened all week, I was like, guys, there's too much BS. There's too much smoke. These players haven't played since December or January. Yes, they went to the combines. Yes, they had their meetings at 30 for 30. Guys, you're following too much in love with what's going on with social media. And I clearly stated here yesterday, Caleb 1, Jaden 2, May 3, Marvin Harrison 4, and then I said the draft begins. I did not say Joe Alt at 5. I did say Neighbors at 6. Okay. Tennessee, again, we were talking Charges with Latham. Boom. They said, all right, thank you very much. They grab him. And then at 8, the circus begins. Now listen, I love Michael Penix. I said the Patriots should have done their due diligence, got the bag from Minnesota, trade back in, get a Dunze, and then get Penix. Well, if they tried that, they probably would have got shut out on Penix. They would have got a Dunze. But anyways, the Atlanta. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. The video out there of him talking to the owner and trying to explain why he did what he did. And then people on social media are saying it was the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love theory. No, it's not. Okay, let's just stop right there. But here's what I'm going to say. It's a GM and a coach saving their ass and looking long-term. Here's why I'm going to say that. Because everyone applauded the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers. And what happened? 4 plays in, he was done. The Jets season was done. Okay? Kirk Cousins is coming off an Achilles issue. Okay. We assume, you know what happens when we assume? It's going to be puppies, cupcakes, and roses here, unicorns. He's going to step onto the field. He's got Bijan. He's got Kyle Pitts. He's got Drake London. I mean, this is just like fish in a barrel here. We don't know that, okay? Not that Penix is ready to step right in today or in September, October. But my point here, Riley, is as much they have not had a double-digit sack guy since 2016. And there was another pick of mine laid up right there for him. Dallas Turner was sitting right there. I mean, the easiest slam dunk of your life. And I guarantee you that's what I have to say. Like, guys, did you see the kid play in the SEC? Do you know what we have here? And whenever they drafted Michael Penix, the jaws dropped.
I like I said, I was with a lot of people, and it's shocking. And I mean, like you said, they could have even moved back and taken Dallas Turner a little bit. And even if you take the Jets strategy of you move back one pick, and yeah, it's you don't gain that much, but at least it's better than nothing. You still get your guy here, so. It's shocking. I mean, to compare it to the Packers, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins situation, Jordan Love just completed his fourth season in the NFL, and he's only about a year and a half older than Michael Penix. And so that's what we're talking about here as far as not a 21-year-old learning for 2-3 years, and then by the time he's 24, 25, still with 10-plus years, 15 years ahead of him on his hands here. We're talking about a guy who's going to sit behind Kirk Cousins for 3 years and be pushing 30 almost. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but I mean, and like you said, the chance for them, they've got such a solid young roster who is absolutely growing and it's getting better, but it doesn't hurt to add another piece that could be really great for it, whether it's offense or defense. They could have done so many different things there. I mean, nobody was talking about Roma Dunze to them, but I mean, they could have added and tried to get a stacked wide receiver core on their hands or something along those lines. I mean, there's so many things that they could have done. And they go and take a guy again. And this is not to discredit really anything about Michael Penix. Like you said, I like Michael Penix, but I don't like him anywhere in the top 20 or anything along those lines. I mean, especially where he's, with the situation he had. If you're not concerned about his injuries, that's great. But he's still sitting behind Kirk Cousins as someone who's about to be 24 in I think in a few days here or something along those lines. So. I was shocked by it. I was shocked by a few of these quarterbacks going as high as they did to some of these teams as well. I mean, historically, a historic amount of quarterbacks taken. I mean, a lot of these quarterback drafts where we got 5-6 quarterbacks in the first round. Obviously, typically have a couple good ones in that class, but there's typically a lot of these guys where you were kind of scratching your head in the first place, end up turning out to be guys that you're scratching your head how teams are still sticking with them 3-4 years later. So. I'm curious to see how this rolls out the next few years, and I mean, if it's injury insurance for Kirk Cousins, then good on him. But they could have done so many different things that would have been more productive with this pick, or moving back and still taking Michael Penix a little bit here. Maybe not, because obviously these other teams were chomping at the bit for a quarterback, so maybe they couldn't move back and take Michael Penix. But if they were dying for a quarterback, they still could have moved back or done something. Move back and take Dallas Turner, because he obviously fell all the way down to 17. I mean, Minnesota was licking their chops. They got to move up and take him at 17. So that doesn't help the NFC North there. So, I mean, Minnesota gets their guy at 10 without having to give up too much. So, I mean, as far as their objectives, I would say it was a win for them. Obviously, we'll see how J.J. McCarthy pans out. But you know what I mean, where, I mean, we were talking about them potentially having to give up a bag to get J.J. McCarthy. They don't have to do that. They move up. I don't think they gave up too much to move up with the Jets. Like I said, just a third round unless I'm mixing something up. But I think it was just a third round pick that they gave up to move up one. I might even be over exaggerating. It might have even been less than that, and maybe like a late pick swap or something like that. But anyways, and they move up obviously and get Dallas Turner too. So solid round, first round for the Minnesota Vikings. Solid round, obviously. Bears get what they want. So, not upset at all about what the NFC North did. I think all around it was good on them. And I think as far as Packers-Lions, obviously today's a bigger day than the other two teams had yesterday, I would say. So at least for the NFC North, panning out the rest of the day here.
So I'm not going to go through the whole draft, because I have a couple more items I want to bring up about the draft. So again, the Penix shocker, and then Chicago sitting there, and I'm like, all right, Bears, you know what to do. Odunze, thank you very little. I mean, so they add Caleb and Odunze. That will be a hookup you'll be talking about for a while there. And then the Jets, called up Minnesota. Hey, So, okay, we'll do the flip-flop. And so they get McCarthy, as you said. Then the Jets, who'd the Jets end up with? They went the kid from Penn State.
Yeah,
yes.
Fashanu.
So that's a great move for them. But here's the funny. So through the first 12 picks, then Denver, of course. Well, let's jump all in, guys. And they take Bo Nix again. No discredit, Bo. I liked your progression. You played at Auburn, you go to Oregon. And Sean Payton now brings up the story that he got blindsided by KC, and they came all the way up to get Mahomes. He wasn't going to get the banana in the tailpipe for the second time. So I think he really thought he was drafting Bo Callahan, but he ended up getting Bo Nix there. So we'll see what happens there. But 6 quarterbacks, the first 12 picks, no defensive guys. And so now I'm smiling ear to ear here because my wild card was Cincinnati getting Brock Bowers. Okay. So now Cincinnati's got to be saying, oh, geez, because there's no defensive guys that have been drafted yet. We might be able to get Bowers, or maybe only have to move up 1 or 2 spots. Here's the funny. The Raiders got caught with their pants down because they're saying, we're going to get Penix. And at worst, we'll settle for Bo Nix. They were all gone by the time the Raiders got up to the plate. So they're sitting there. They drafted Mayer in the 2nd round last year. And they're sitting there and they're like this, and Antonio, and they're like, shit, we'll take Brock Bowers. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I know. And they're in no man's land. I mean, if you want to have a fantastic tight end duo, then good on you, I guess. But, obviously you still are trying to figure out your quarterback situation unless you're in love with Aiden O'Connell, which I think most people are not. So, and really anything that they would have done, they could have taken a good player. They could have taken a good defensive player, but obviously a long way to go to get them back into a winning situation there. So, no, that was again, it's tough to say it's a rough first round because you get Brock Bowers, who's fantastic, but like you said, not really a position of need because Michael Mayer was coming on at the end of the season. He was showing some flashes of being really solid. So, curious to see how they use the two of those two. And, I don't want to spend too much time here as well. Just looking through it a little bit. Like I said, Lions move up, steal Terry and Arnold there. I'm not sure if the Packers really wanted him or not. And then Nate Wiggins, the other corner, who did end up going ahead of Cooper DeJean to the Ravens, was interesting there. And then the Niners at 31 take Ricky Pearsall. And rumor has it Ayuk texted Lynch saying, not going to lie, that's a good pick. So curious to see. You were talking about Ayuk as a potential piece here tonight. So curious to see if we get anything movement on that here tonight in the first few hours. Or first.
And I'll close here. Philly gets gift wrapped at their corner, and they couldn't run to the podium quick enough. It always seems like they're the guys just fall in their lap. A handful of years ago, Minnesota takes Jalen Reagor, and they couldn't run to the mic quick enough to get their wide receiver. I'm sorry, vice versa there. They now get the tight end. So the cornerback, excuse me. But I just wanted to add here, Buffalo Bills trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, who they can't beat. They can't beat them. And now they get a wide receiver from Texas who ran the quickest 40 in the history of the combine. And I'm not saying he's the next Tyreek Hill, but I'm saying he potentially could be the next Tyreek Hill. I mean, the team you can't beat, you just gave him a track star, okay? So that was number one. But they're not done there. Because then they trade with Carolina. And the funny here is this. I talked about wide receivers potentially for the Patriots, and I'm going to get to the Patriots here because they have the second pick. Now Buffalo has the first pick. Carolina got a steal with Leggett. Leggett is potentially the next Deebo Samuel. So now the 49ers are tap dancing here because Ayuk was the one that they're moving. And now all of a sudden, Debo's the one that's available. Okay. So Buffalo is on the clock. And it's now the Patriots or Buffalo who blinks first that is going to make a trade with the 49ers for Debo Samuel. Okay. So I'm going to ask you this question. I like McConkey, and there's other wide receiver out there. I think is it McKin? Who's the other one? McConkey.
Mitchell out of Texas. Is
out of Texas.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to ask you this because I know we got Drake May, the Patriots, not we. The Patriots got Drake May. I know we need wide receiver help. But I'm going to ask you this, Riley. The Patriots' first-round pick last year was Christian Gonzalez, lockdown corner. He's great. I love him. He got hurt. He's going to be with us for a long time now. If McConkey's there or the kid from Texas is there, I just got, for some reason, aren't they supposed to take DeJean there?
The Patriots?
Yes.
At the 2? I think they can do just about anything. The Patriots need so many young talent. I think they could use some offensive help. And Mitchell would be. He runs a really really fast 40 time as well, and so you get some speed on that offense. It wouldn't surprise me if they do something like that. So I think they could do just about anything. I would say Cooper DeJean or Mitchell would be my choice there over McConkey, but. I don't know. That's your neck of the woods, man. I can give my speculation, but your local's got to have a better idea than I do, I think.
Well, I would have drafted if Leggett made it to me. I would have taken Leggett. I don't want to pay Debo. I will pay Ayuk, though. I will pay Ayuk. I do not want to play Debo there. So if it's Debo that you're offering, you can give him to Buffalo. And it makes more sense with Buffalo. They lost Diggs. So bring in a name, let them pay him. And then you're right. If it's Mitchell, fine. I talked to some people about McConkey. They compared his combine in a couple of the drills to Puka. What Puka did last combine. And again, McConkey, obviously he's got the genes. He played in the SEC. I think he'd be a great long-term play for them, but they do need someone to take the lid off. So I'm not worried there. So that's the draft again. Now we got 2 rounds tonight. Thoughts going into tonight's rounds?
No, I'm curious to see where Cooper DeJean goes because, like I said, it wouldn't even shock me if he falls to the Packers and they still don't take him at 9. That's the type of stuff that they typically do sometimes. So, no. Aside from that, you got Kool-Aid on the board, so there's got to be a lot of defense that's going here in this round on top of some wide receivers. Outside of that, looks like we've got a little bit of a gap where we might not see some offensive linemen taken here much in the second round. So there's a lot of teams that there's still a lot of really good players that look like they could have been first-round talent there. So, like I said, I think the Packers take some defense. You got a couple, 2 or 3 corner options. They might even scoot back a little bit and take some linebacker help. But they do have two second-round picks here. So, I'm curious to see what these teams do, man. You got someone from Illinois, Jerzon Newton, as a D tackle that is probably going to go in the top 5 of this second round here. So. I don't have strong thoughts. Outside of these top 5 to 10 picks or so with some of these guys, but it's got to be a 70% defense here in this second round with a handful of receivers mixed in. Is my thoughts on what I'm seeing here.
Lastly, teams desperate for a quarterback right now are the Raiders. Who else?
The Raiders are for sure, obviously. Let's see. Maybe not right away, but Titans might want some, insurance or some backup help for Levis there. You've got, the Saints probably in the market for adding a young guy potentially. They still got their, hodgepodge of characters there. Giants, if they're not in love with Daniel Jones, maybe a little bit there. Not the Jaguars. Steelers, you got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, but if you want to add another, third option for some competition. Who else here? Tampa, if you want to compete with Baker and get another young guy in there, depending on how much you love Baker. But aside from that, the Raiders are certainly by far the most desperate candidate. Is this easy answer as that one is concerned?
All right. So my question to you is, do you know where they're picking tonight in the second round?
They've got 12, so number 44 overall, 12.
Well, if I'm the Patriots, I'm going to call the Raiders, and I am going to say, if you don't trade with us, Spencer Rattler's going to be gone because he's going to be, I assume he'll be the first quarterback off the board. I know there's a lot of teams. He was attached to the Patriots for a long, long time here as well. I know as we got closer to draft day, there was a lot more teams knocking on the door to Rattler. I mean, I know the Raiders, the Raiders, they need defensive help as well. But I mean, who are they going to draft? Joe Milton? Or, I mean, I know there's other names out there, but my fact is the last of the Mohegans here is Spencer Rattler. I don't know what his projected ADP is, but after last night's fiasco of 6 quarterbacks going, I would assume if I needed a quarterback, I want to get it done and over and then worry about the rest of the draft after.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any odds or anything as far as where he's going or anything like that. I agree with you. The only thing I see here to be drafted in the second round, Spencer Rattler on DraftKings is plus 140. So not set in stone there. I mean, I guess I don't know if they're too concerned that anyone else would scoop him up that quick with how many solid players there still are. I'm trying to see here. Third round, they've got 13th pick too, so maybe they have to move up from there, or maybe they even move back in the second round and gain some later capital. I don't know. So I agree with you. I think he's got to be theirs. I would say maybe that third round pick, there might be some teams that test their leverage a little bit. Obviously, unless he's gone by then. But no, I'm curious to see what teams think of him. I had some. I personally don't like his character. I think I've seen plenty of clips where he's just an outright a-hole to his teammates for the most part there. So I had no interest in anything with him, but he's got great physical abilities for sure. So I'm not shaking a stick at that, and it seems like he's matured a little bit. But I would say I would say maybe not there at 12, especially if you're talking about the plus 140 there. So maybe in the third round. Or maybe they've got to move up from that 13th pick in the third round to maybe some teams testing their leverage a little bit there would be what I think is going to happen here tonight.
All right, so that's enough of the draft. It was definitely fun. It was, like I said, I tapped myself on the shoulder. We nailed a bunch of them. I'm very proud of the fact that we saw through the BS and the smoke, nailing the front four, nailing Neighbors, nailing Odunze, and had a couple more lined up and wide left and wide right, and I'll end that there. NBA 3 games tonight. My eyes are telling me that a lot of steam coming in on Indiana. The Clippers in Dallas, very interesting. And I smell rat in Minnesota Phoenix. That's what my eyes tell me.
I am not shaking a stick at anything you're saying there. Were you curious to see? Were you surprised to see the total in Indiana and in Milwaukee right at 223, right, which was similar to Game 2 there. Game 2 finishes over 223.5 at 233, so we're 10 points over. And then we're still sticking at 223 in Indiana, where the Pacers have put up just an absurd amount of points. So were you surprised to see that total not up in the 230s here tonight?
1,000%. And it's really, I want to say it's false steam. I want to say the Pacers win by 20 tonight, and the Bucks are getting ready to go golfing. That's what I want to say. But when you do that to the Bucks team, then you wake up at halftime and it's 48-38 Bucks, and it's just comical. So I smell a 114 to 114.5 to 115.5, Bucks at 108.5. I don't like the spread. I'm rooting for the Pacers. I think we just need to put a fork in the Bucks and just call it a day. I'd rather see the youth here. If I had to play the game, and I'm not getting the good number here, I would take DraftKings right now over 114.5 on the Pacers and pray. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, if they're the ones that are putting up a boatload of points, then that's obviously the move to make. And the Bucks are sliding under that 108.5, and we're just talking about a blowout on our hands. It would not surprise me at all. But like you said, it's a team that does respond to lack of belief pretty decently there. So I'm torn on it, and I'm not touching that spread either. I certainly not jumping in deep end with the Bucks here, but like you said, you might wake up and this Bucks team is the one winning, 120 to 105 or something like that. So I that's not what I'm predicting by any means, but yeah, that total was really shocking to me that we weren't higher than 233. That they finished that the other day, let alone right where they were the other day, and they go 10 points over it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen out of this one. Is the best I could say out of it here. And first half total 3.5 for the Pacers there. Maybe maybe I'm interested in the Pacers with some home cooking, having a good first half here at the very least. But again, it's not something that I'm all over here tonight.
Shout out to TJ. He goes, hey, can't believe the Heat won game 2. He says hello to myself. He says hello to Riley. It's been a while. Yes, TJ, it's been a long, long while. So glad that you're back. The Heat shocked the world. 14.5-point underdogs, not only covered, plus 8.5. I'm sorry, plus 800 in the money line. Went outright in Boston. Celtics -9, 9.5 tomorrow in South Beach. A lot of people locally think that the Celtics are going to get jiggy with it. Hey, I'm rooting for the Heat. I think Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA, hands down. No Butler, no problem. Expect a real focused Celtics team. Expect Porzingis to bounce back. The whole team to bounce back. But, hey, it's in South Beach. Anything can happen. And if you can find a way to get a split, come back to Boston 2-2. It's a best of 7. First one, someone's going to win 2 out of the next 3, and it would make the Celtics fans and nation a lot tighter. Anything can happen, and especially against the Heat there, sir. So you talked about the halftimes. I talked about it yesterday. The 3 home teams that came back 0-2, always an auto play is to play them in the first half. Orlando box to wire, just Cleveland mailed it in. They should have just taken the 0, said we'll be back for game 4. They just never showed up.
Yeah.
Lakers did what they've done every game in the series, win the first half, and Joker and company just leaned on them. They end up beating the Lakers, now up 3-0, and just called blind luck. Again, I give out Philly -4 first half, and they're down 3 at half, and they win the game and cover the second half in full game. So, again, I see what you're seeing with the 3.5. I want to say Pacers are the side, but on a Friday especially, when a number opens and the number just keeps going and going and going, and it's fade the public Friday, everyone got paid today, they see the steam. And it's not the steam from the wok at your Chinese restaurant. It's not the steam from your dry cleaner. It's the steam of the number moving, and you're like, FOMO, I gotta play the Pacers tonight.
Yeah, and it's certainly one of my suggestions. It wasn't even a real suggestion. It was just me trying to pick something out here because I'm with you. There's something weird going on here, especially that total is keeping me out of it. So. Either the Bucks are laying an egg or the Bucks are showing up tonight and blowing the Pacers out of the water is how it could go. I mean, this is a series where if the Bucks want to win without Giannis, that Damian Lillard's got to do what he does in Game 1, or at least for the majority of the first half or so of Game 1 there, and put up a boatload of points. And I think that's the way the Bucks can get a win tonight. And if he's not on tonight, then I think it is going to be the Pacers taking care of business tonight. So it's almost, in my opinion, almost more about what Damian Lillard does for the Bucks here tonight. So we can move on from that game. If the Bucks go down 2-1, is Giannis coming back, or is he coming back Game 5 or later, no matter what? Game 5. Yep. And if they're down 3-1 and he comes back, then obviously they got a chance to run the table anyways the last 3 games with Giannis. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they're rushing him back. I mean, they've got more things to worry about, like we were talking about the other day, than a first round series against the Pacers in a year where they're not, the perennial favorites by any means. So we've been talking a lot about Clippers in Dallas. That one is 1-1 right now. Dallas -4.5. We were kind of right on with it the other day when you had the no Kawhi. Clippers win, Kawhi comes back, Dallas wins. Kind of talked about that could be the way this series go. We don't have any, I don't think any serious news here tonight. I think Kawhi is technically questionable, but I do believe he is good to go and is going to play tonight. This series has been under, low scoring both games for the most part here. 96-93 last time out. Total has jumped down again here today. Are we believing in the Mavericks here at -4.5, or would you have liked to see it a little higher than the 4.5 in their home building, coming home off the split in LA?
I got Clippers. I'm Clippers. I got Dallas at 13-1 to win the West. I'll keep saying it till they're out. Just to remind myself here, because, again, I think the winner of this series has got a good shot at beating OKC to get to most likely Denver. So anyways, I think it could be the zigzag here. As much as I want to take Dallas at home, I expect a big show, and I think Dallas numbers a little inflated. I would have respected it opening at 5.5 or 6. I don't need a number to get pushed to these numbers. I look at the opening number, the overnight number. That's the true number. I don't need to see this thing keep going up and up. So I think the actual value is in the Clippers tonight.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I like the seesaw on this one. This is it's going to be a continued good series. Do we get some points here tonight? I guess is the other question. We've had low scoring. Do we get some points here tonight? Total didn't drop too much further than I think it was 216.5 the other day, and it went pretty far under. Are we getting some points tonight and we're going over in this one, or are we sticking with some low scoring games here?
Well, you talk about bad numbers. The overnight number for Dallas team total was 106.5. Clippers at 103. Clippers right now on DraftKings are 104.5. And Dallas is 108.5 on DraftKings, 109.5 on Heritage. So, God, if you like the Clippers tonight, I'll suggest taking Dallas team total under 109.5. How's that sound?
I like it. I do like it. I can get behind that one for sure. So, I think we've got Clippers tonight, and we'll see what happens in Game 4 there. And I think we get a split here one way or another. So, Minnesota and Phoenix. You mentioned already before we were talking NBA here. -5 now. Suns in Phoenix. After a rough 2 games in Minnesota, my friend. Rough 2 games. Timberwolves take care of business 120-95 and 105-93. Is this one reminding you of last night's Sixers and Knicks line? It was 5.5 when it closed? Or are you thinking the same thing with this one here tonight and the Suns taking care of business at home?
First instinct, Phoenix -3.5 first half. Building going crazy. KD, Booker lighting it up. It just smells like a trap to me. I think. Hey, listen, I got a Suns ticket in the series here. This is obviously a must-win. They got to get Here's what I'm hoping, honestly. I hope they win the next 2 games and I can buy out of this and I can go grab Minnesota, because I don't like what I'm seeing with them on the road. They kind of remind me of Golden State last year at Sacramento, and I don't like what I'm seeing here. I don't like the line at all. Again, the auto play here is Phoenix first half -3.5, which probably, like the Knicks and 76ers, means Minnesota will be winning at half. Phoenix wins the second half and covers the game.
Yeah. No, this one's been interesting. You've got 2 teams that, from a respect standpoint, just national respect, the Suns get a lot of respect. But as a group, this team wasn't the team that went to the finals against the Bucks. It was Booker and a different cast of characters, and so I feel like they should play with more of an edge, because they really haven't done much together as a group. Whereas this Minnesota team is despite what they did in the regular season, is trying to gain that respect, because people haven't seen them advance much further than the first round here as a group. So they've been the team that's been trying to, playing with a chip on their shoulder there, Minnesota. So if something doesn't change, Minnesota's going to wipe the floor with them again here tonight, or maybe 5 games if it's not tonight here. But I'm with you on the Suns here tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the hockey real quick for everyone here. There's 4 games. Let me get my mouse over here. Come on. All right. Hockey tonight. I'm going to give out some team totals. Rangers in Washington, I don't like it at all. I think this sets up like the Carolina game did last night, where it landed 3-2 and they beat the Islanders. If you want some Rangers action tonight, and you want some plus money, you got to take them over 3.5 plus 125. Andrew and I did a NHL show on Wager Talk this afternoon. He gave me something that it just sounds intriguing. Their team totals 2.5 juice under minus 125 or 135. Yet for Washington to score in the first period, I think was minus 130. I like them to score in the first period. So if you want some Washington action tonight, take Washington to just score one goal or more, obviously, in the first period. Vancouver National and Nashville, basically a pick 'em. Vancouver wins the first game. Demko gets hurt. Nashville steals the second game. Now they're back in Nashville. I like the zigzag theory here. I like Vancouver tonight. You can't play either team total. They're both 2.5 over minus 150. Basically, first 1 to 3 wins this game. Winnipeg, Colorado. Colorado team total is a flat 3.5. Winnipeg 2.5 over minus 150. I think Winnipeg's in a prime spot to bounce back here. I think they're undervalued tonight. Everyone expects Colorado. Lost the first game, won the second. They're just going to come home and take care of business. I wouldn't be so quick to run to the window and press the minus 160. I do think there's going to be some goals. First 1 to 4 wins this game. I think this is 4-3 all day, maybe even overtime. There we go. I'm calling overtime in Winnipeg, Colorado. How's that, people? Overtime, Winnipeg, Colorado. And last one, Edmonton at LA. Edmonton smoke show in game 1. LA, I told everyone on the show, buyer beware. LA was dangerous in game 2, and of course they come through. Now Edmonton, big favorites in LA. Maybe some lower scoring in this game, but if you like Edmonton, don't want to lay the lumber, don't want to play the puck line, don't want to play regulation, Edmonton to get to 4 tonight or better, plus 110.
I like it, my friend. Couple MLB games, and then we can get out of here unless you got a couple other ones.
Nope.
Your neck of the woods, Cubs and Red Sox. Cubs 16-9, playing good ball. Both these pitchers in small sample size have been decent. Kind of a pick 'em here almost, depending on your book. You might have some 105s for the Red Sox. I see some 110s both ways here. Any love for the Red Sox? Would you have respected the Cubs as with 16-9 coming in, playing well, as bigger favorites here? Or is this just respect to the Red Sox home field advantage here?
It's the respect for Cutter Crawford. This has been like Cy Crawford here. He has just been lights out. But same with Amanga for the Cubs. Obviously, the first time we will have seen him. Team totals, Cubs over 3.5, minus 135. Red Sox over 3.5, minus 120. With a 7.5. It's kind of surprising because I don't say this often. I think this is a dead nut under, but it should have been a flat 7. So it probably goes to 8, meaning first 1 to 4 wins this game. I lean Red Sox back home Friday night. The sun's out. I think they're going to do some damage here. But like I said, first 1 to 4 wins this game.
Yeah, it was one where on the Friday night, I mean, maybe it's obviously two big fan bases, but I got a lot of Cubs fans in my, whether it's close to me or in my Twitter feeds, loading up on the Cubs tonight. So that one seemed a little fade the public Friday situation for me here, but maybe I'm just a little too close to the opponent on that one. The other one was Minnesota and LA Angels. Sandoval on the mound for the Angels at home against Bailey Ober and the Twins. Twins just coming off of a rough start, but a 4-game sweep at home against my White Sox to wake up their offense. 6 runs or 6 or 7 runs in all 4 of those games, so their bats wake up finally. Take that for what it's worth against the White Sox. Angels not playing well right now defensively, certainly not. Last 2 games, couple good offensive games, but you got our guy Sandoval on the mound who has not been good yet. Are we, and this Angels team is favored tonight, are we feeling good about a Sandoval bounce back here tonight at home? Or would you have preferred a higher number here for the Angels as a home favorite here?
I'm going to go Friday Night Lights. We're going to jump on our horse here, Sandoval, a little home cooking. If I was playing this game and you're a little leery, take them in the first 5. Don't have to worry about the back end of the bullpen. How's that sound?
Yep, sounds good to me. Anything else baseball-wise that you wanted to lay down for us here today?
I have to go over this. It was a Trent special. Trent, as usual, book it with Trent or whatever, one of the biggest lightning rods on social media. I don't think he's had a winning day in forever. But the fact of the matter is, after taking his lumps last night, wakes up and there's only one game on the board, and that was Kansas City and Detroit, and came up with the genius play. I'm playing under 7.5. Well, it was 1-0 after 8, Kansas City and Detroit, and Kansas City puts up a 7 spot in the 9th, win 8-0. So that game goes flying over the 7.5. So obviously, if you have a weak heart, do not play baseball. I'm going to go to one game tonight. I think there's going to be a lot of runs scored. I think it's going to be a fun game tonight, and that's the Dodgers at Toronto, Stone versus Bassett, 2 high-octane offenses. Toronto's hasn't hit that high octane yet. Now they come back from west to east. They're back home, and the Dodgers staying on the road here. Again, that offense has not got clicking, but again, in the dome. I got a flat 9 here. I think it goes flying over. I'll even throw a little sugar on top. You can get the Dodgers team total over 4.5, -20, and the Jays team total over 4.5, +115. I think this game is, I'll go 8-6, 8-5, 7-6, something like that. But I think it goes flying over the 9, Riley.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, that offense needs to wake up in Toronto there for sure. A few offenses need to wake up a little bit here still in April here. So curious to see what other baseball action we get. We got some decent games on the mound tonight, but obviously some playoff action that we broke down in the NBA or NFL draft. Still some fireworks. I am ready for day 2 of the draft with my Packers having a couple of picks in the second round. And I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 in the third round also. So ready for it tonight. I don't have too much for closing thoughts. We had a good week of shows in action, my friend. Good, very good draft talk. Whether you had, whether it's us two or anyone else that you had on talking draft. So, very, very good week. Looking forward to these next couple of days of NFL draft action, and then we'll be hitting the ground running once again next week, my friend.
Yes, it's been a great, great week to all the guests, to yourself, Riley, for coming in, and us to tag team in the closing bell. We got a lot more of that and some big stuff we're going to reveal sooner than later moving forward here. All the people watching every day, every night, all week, thank you, thank you, thank you. Big week next week. Again, Kentucky Derby week. Sean Alvarez will again be here. Shout out to TJ. Great to have you back here. It's been a while. My closing thought is, I'll say it. I just think they're gonna panic. And it's sad, but I'm gonna go Buffalo takes the banana in the tailpipe. They get Deebo Samuel. They make a move there. I think the Patriots will take a wide receiver, even though if it was me, I would take Cooper DeJean. And just because I know there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft, and I just have a hard time with Gonzalez, and then I got DeJean, and I just, as much as, do I want the track star part 2 from Texas? Of course I do. But they're boom or bust. I think you could build from the back end. But anyways, that's my thought there. I talked about the overtime in Winnipeg and Colorado. That's pizza and beer money, guys, as well. So it's been a great, great week. Enjoy yourselves, behave. I do not know, potentially could do a show with Scott Webb either tomorrow or Sunday. We're going to talk some baseball there. But if not, we will be back early on Monday. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley Magnuson, Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Enjoy the weekend. Don't be the pizza man. Don't leave that pizza on the oven. Get your ass home early. You don't want to be the couch potato and, with the pillow because, you messed up at all and you didn't pay the bills. And we'll save it for next week. TJ, see you, my brother. We'll see everyone soon. Enjoy the weekend.